Hey, good morning, everybody. This is the regular Space Junkie Takeover here on the What About It Plus channel. Welcome, everybody, to our very last show this year. Actually, this is going to be our last live coverage on Starbase because it's the end of the year and I think everybody is going to get busy. So, hi, this is Szabi and I got David here with me. Hi, David.
Hello, Sabi. Hello, everyone. Yeah, as you
Hello, David.
mentioned, we are last time here this year, but hopefully we will meet next year as well.
Definitely. I believe so.
But the
We'll
yeah,
be back.
but the holidays are coming, so nothing
Yes.
much will happening maybe, and so that's why we thought that this will be our last show in 2024, and we will continue in January.
hmm Tell us how you are preparing for the Christmas parties and all the things that, this is the regular time of the year. I think SpaceX is slowing down slowly towards the end of the year, so we are quite happy that they've done what they've done because they had a fairly busy like week and a half week. Yeah, because in the
Let's
last
say we.
the booster didn't happen, the booster test, when we were last time
No, it was
live.
on Monday in the
Just
afternoon,
right
so
after
we
our
just
show.
skip.
Yeah.
We just missed it.
Missed it. Yeah. Okay. So in this show, we're gonna show you both of the static fires that happened with the Flight 7 hardware, and also we are going to look into the mirror and just check what happened this year. Also, we're gonna take a walk on memory lane. I think that's a nicer way to say that we're gonna summarize what happened this year. During the show, please feel free to ask any questions to us, and we will try to answer your questions to our best knowledge. Okay, without any further ado, let's see. Let's start with maybe with the booster static fire
Mhm.
because we had an amazing static fire happening. It had a beautiful sound. I don't think I can show you the sound. It's on SpaceX's X profile, but yeah, the view was quite an amazing sight. And to be fair, I mean, this is like, I think everybody who's watching these videos just have a, I don't know, an urge to fire up a barbecue because the roasting view, I don't know, I want to get some bratwurst and just throw it on 33 Raptors and just have a nice barbecue or with a nice, I don't know,
Maybe
steak
it
or
would be well done
whatever.
very fast.
It would be well done. Yeah, I think it would be overdone very fast.
and the people around the barbecue as well. Yeah. So yeah, it happened on Monday, and yeah, actually it was yeah, it was very nice to see and watch how smooth these static fires
Yep.
are moving nowadays. And yeah, they just arrived here when we can say that it's already routine for the boosters and for the ships as well. But of
Yep.
course, it's necessary before every flight. They do it almost every time, even by Falcon 9s, especially when they debut a new booster. So it's totally normal when if they static fire the booster and the ships as well. So they started with the booster 14, and yeah, maybe as you know, that will be the flight 7 first stage. And yeah, it was quite a rush because they just rolled it out on Friday, so 1.5 weeks ago. Yes, they just moved it to the launch site, lifted it on the OLM, and on the very next day, no, sorry, they've done with it
There
spin
was
prime
a
test
2 day gap.
before
Yeah.
on Saturday. And then after it, 2 days later, they've done the static fire itself.
hmm
And yeah, it was a maybe a bit interesting that they've done a spin prime test as well, because maybe as you remember, they haven't done it with the booster 13 and 12. Maybe the last one was the booster 10 or 11. I don't remember uh, proper. but
But they had a good reason for it
yeah,
because it's a
yeah,
new hardware.
because as Felix mentioned, because of the its pair, the first Block 2 version Starship, the S33, which has been raised a bit, that's
Hmm.
why they had to implement some new things in the booster itself, and that's why they have done first a spin prime test, then they continued it with the static fire.
But we can be happy that, I mean, we can say it with a confidence that these tests were successful, and it means that the new hardware setup or the new configuration has basically passed the test. So it looks like that they are tip top and kind
Right.
of ready for Flight 7. In the meantime, because this is an easy conversational sort of program today, we're gonna skip back and forth. There was a few questions from T. Brook. Oh, Brookie, sorry, maybe I'm butchering your name. Next Starship before the end of year, highly doubt it. I think they are still the date is January the 11th, so it doesn't look like this year there will be any launch.
Or it
Or
depends. What do you mean? So only a full stack or a launch?
no, 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 launch. Launch means launch. Um,
No,
next
it was
Starship,
just next
next
Starship
Starship
before end of
before.
year, so it
True.
wasn't launch mentioned.
Next Starship, yeah, but I don't. Yeah, I
Because
doubt.
if we are talking about only a full stack, then I think so that they will do it maybe before Christmas, but between Christmas and New
Yeah,
Year's Eve,
true.
I guess
Mm-hmm.
just for the show.
Yeah, I mean, why not? But I don't think that the launch is plausible this year for
No,
sure.
no,
Um, yeah, they don't. I
hundred
don't think
hundred percent sure.
they don't have the permission. Also, he was asking what is yet to be tested before the next test flight. Both static fired. I look for full stack right after Christmas. Yeah, that's what we
Mm.
covered. So basically, unwillingly, we covered your second question.
Yeah, so yeah,
Um,
we didn't mention it, but yeah, since we are already here, then we mention now that the Ship 33 has had its static fire as well.
mhm.
So actually,
Um, sorry to
yeah,
cough you up because Witsbar is asking, are they going to build a static fire stand at Massey's? And the answer is yes. There is a static fire stand at Massey's.
it was
Here we
built
go.
this year, beginning
But let's highlight that that's only for ships and not for boosters.
right. Right. So yeah, the ships the famous one and only ship 26 was the first ship which was tested at the Masses with static fire, and after it joined to the party the S29, then 30, 31, 32, and now the 33. So they coming in a row nicely, and yeah, that makes the life much easier because they don't require any suborbital test stands anymore at the launch site, so they don't have to have any rollout any test windows or any road closures, and of course that means that they don't have to just clear the launch site itself during the test, because the Messi's test site is very near, very far from everything, so they can do it any time. They don't require any preparations of it. So yeah, they have done it, the S33 static fire on Friday. No, it was yesterday. Sorry, it was yesterday. On Friday there was another test, but since as I mentioned, the
Sorry.
S33 is a new one, so the first Block 2 member, family member, they have done it. They have done more tests with it. So it was actually a cryogenic test and maybe a propellant load test. And yesterday they've done the static fire, and as in case of the booster, the SpaceX guys were so nice that they have shared a quite nice video and some good photos about the test. So yeah, it was yesterday, so not so long ago,
Mhm.
long time ago, and it seemed pretty smooth as well, like the
Mhm.
booster.
I really like the fact that how well this flame trench is operating, and to be fair, looking back, SpaceX really tried to reinvent the the launch pads, as we saw at Pad A, and they really assumed that they can get away without a flame trench. And I
They
mean,
have learned the lesson.
they tried it, and but we can see that it's so much easier to have an actual uh, flight um, flame diverter, sorry, instead of just going everywhere. I think you could see it with the booster. If I pull back the booster footage, you can see that it's going everywhere. The shock waves is not just spreading, but it's bouncing back from the ground. And
Mm.
it's just so unnecessary to have this force going everywhere instead of just into one certain direction, and just, just basically it's a controlled blast heading one direction instead of going everywhere. So
Yeah,
yeah,
for
yeah,
us enthusiasts, it's not a good thing because it's not so visual excitement and
yeah,
experience like in case of the booster.
indeed.
But that will be the pad B situation as well. Maybe there will be two exits, and we can see two different plumes, but that's all. And so far, yeah, or until they use the OLMA in the current position on or current situation for
Hmm.
booster static fires, we can just yeah, we can just enjoy these visual things what we have what we have experienced with the booster 14 as well, but unfortunately we can't enjoy it with the ships anymore. And yeah, Witz bar corrected himself. Sorry, are they going to build it for a boosters also? He meant a static fire stand in at the masses. I don't think so, because they because maybe they will require um, much more
Infrastructure.
propellant tanks
Mhm.
and all the instruments or the how to say it,
Infrastructure.
infrastructures. Yes, sorry. And maybe there is no more space for a booster test stand itself, and they won't do a new flame trench again. And of course, the current ship's test stand, it's not enough for the booster because the power yeah, everything.
It's unnecessary. It's
So the impact and
overcomplicating
everything is much
everything.
bigger.
Yeah, it's not required. Is they can get that done at the launch site. Obviously, that would be ideal because at the masses they can test without any road closures
Yes.
or any, I don't know, real permissions. What is it, restrictions? What
Hmm.
usually the launch site requires. So that would be more straightforward, and probably in the future, if they're gonna start building more and more hardware, probably they're gonna get it done. But to be fair, they need to, if when they are launching a booster, they need to transport it to the launch pad anyway.
Yeah,
So
but and just one more very important thing, that don't forget the boosters will be reused in time. So
yeah,
not maybe not in the very near future, but with time, when it goes by, they won't require in every in
fire.
every case a new static fire. So when the booster will be cached, and hopefully these boosters will be even more and more reliable, they won't do a static fire in case of every launch. So
Yeah, it can't be. It can't be. Yeah.
that's
It-
why it's not a not negative condition, or how to say that, they will have even more and more flights, because as they will reuse the boosters, they won't require in each case a new static fire time. So they won't require with it the closures, the the pad clearance and everything like that. So that's why currently it's okay for the SpaceX guys that sometimes they have to clear the site for the booster static fires, but it won't be a negative thing in the future in case of the reusable boosters.
Mhm.
So I was about to talking about something, but I forget it, so we can move on. Before the ship static fire, and I don't remember anymore what to say. Um,
That's fine. That's fine. Let's move on.
Anyway, okay.
Um, I think we can mention the Block 2 versions because now we covered the static fire, both of the static fires, and yeah, maybe just let's just cover the fact that this is a booster. Sorry, this is the Block 2 ship,
Hmm.
because it's a significant milestone. This is going to be the first time that they are dealing with a second generation ship. As you can see, the flaps are so much smaller compared to. I mean, we had some previously. We had some. I show you this comparison, but in this one, the flaps were kind of closed on the left hand side on the ship 33, versus the right hand side, the ship 31. So it is not making real justice. But I'm gonna find a photo. I think I have it somewhere where there is a great comparison when the new Block 2 ship flap is open. It's so much smaller compared to the Block 1 flaps, and it's because they were doing too much work during flights, and
Right,
that's not good.
and also the layout is different.
Yes, yeah, it's not like 180 degrees, so
Mhm.
like symmetric on each side. Um,
Yeah, the
but
forward flaps were moved a bit on the leeward side
mhm,
of of the ship, so they don't have the mentioned 180 degrees anymore, and the SpaceX engineers expecting from this that they won't have so much lift lift force, or
lifting
it's
power, or
correct, lifting
yeah.
force. Okay, so they won't overwork it themselves. That's why, but that's
Hmm.
what I want to say.
Hmm.
So and also it means that the plasma at the plasma phase they won't have so much stress and load on the hinges, mainly on the hinges, because maybe you remember the the weakest points of the forward flaps were, in case of the Block ones, the hinges, and they were just melting most of the time, and of course that wasn't a positive happening. So
No, not the
and
slightest.
however they were still usable, and it was a quite a surprise. But anyway, so with this movement, or with this layout change, they expect to have smaller stress on these forward flaps, so they could use it more time, hopefully.
Hmm. So we are talking about these these bits here, right?
Yes,
These are the hinges because you can see how much it's sticking out on this
and
one,
in the
block
middle
one.
section as well.
Yeah, and in here is so much smaller. So
Mhm.
hopefully that's gonna cause less friction. Um, and where in
Around in the middle section of
the
the
middle?
flaps,
Hmm.
it's not mentioned, it's not shown here, but there are hinges in the middle part
Hmm.
of the flap as well,
Hmm. Hmm.
and they were quite weak, the weak point as in case of the last flights,
Hmm.
as we saw them.
Yeah, I got some ground photos, but I don't think it shows. Nah, it's maybe on
Mhm.
the other side. It would be visible, but yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We got some stunning photos, by the way, from the Y photographers. It's definitely worth signing up for for Patreon membership because you can get access to most of these photographs. So if you're a photo junkie and if you like eye candy photos, like really aesthetically beautiful photos, I definitely urge you to sign up to the Patreon, the What About It Patreon, because you can get access to all of these. Um, okay, so
Yeah,
definitely we are.
just one more
Yeah, go
funny
for it.
one funny to add, that nowadays it's quite surprising, or quite rare thing when we can see the sun, because the last couple of weeks were terrible in terms of the weather now, down there. So that's why it's a rare picture or photo that we can see the sun coming
In,
or rising, actually.
indeed, it is. It's a very
Or is
rare
it sunset?
sight. These,
Anyway, we can
I
see the
think,
sun.
I think it's a sunset, yeah, because yeah, the photographer is looking towards the west. So
Okay.
I'm almost convinced that it is. Okay. Maybe we can talk a little bit about 2024
Hmm.
because 2024 was an eventful year, no matter how we see it.
You can say
Um,
that.
yeah, so we okay, let me just think over what was the time frame for the launches. So in 2024, we started with flight 3 in the 14th of March.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was flight 3. So they've done significant milestones, didn't they? Because during the launch, I think this was the first time. This was the first time when we had all the 33 Raptor engines working during the
I
ascent. So it
guess
was the only problem
no.
was at flight 4.
Maybe on the flight two there were all the Raptors working, but
Mm-hmm.
it was so long time ago. I don't remember
Mm-hmm.
very
Mm-hmm.
much. But yeah, anyway, the ascending phase was
Perfect.
almost perfect. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and on this flight there were some, or not some, but a few, and even more and more test points of the ship, not only the booster but the ship itself,
Mm-hmm.
because they had the confidence already to put the ship almost on orbit, but let's say on a suborbital trajectory, and they just pointed out some uh, tests for the ship, 20, 28, 28, I guess.
What was it? Sorry.
I guess it was 28. And yeah, for example, that was a test with the payload door
Yes.
closing and opening. It
They
was not.
tried to get done quite a few things during this flight.
Yeah, and there were also planning the Raptor
Mm-hmm.
reignition, but they haven't done it because of the rolling movement of the ship in the on the coast phase.
Yes.
So they just didn't want to try anymore.
Yep.
And also there was what was the third one? Yeah, the payload door, the Raptors, and the propellant transfer. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
from
Mm-hmm.
the header tank to the main tank with the sub oxygen. And two of them were actually successful, but
Mm-hmm.
because of the propellant transfer, the balance of the ship was a bit lost, and that's
Well,
why they
they
just
they could open the payload door, so like one and a half things
one and
were
okay, let's say 1.5 successful points. Yeah, at the closure, it wasn't so smooth,
no.
but anyways, they closed it somehow, but not for the first
And
attempt.
let's mention that the first time this was the first time when the hot staging happened.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, and also the booster, they were coming back controlled, but I think I'm not too sure if it was eventually confirmed that the hot staging ring that caused the imbalancing of the booster, but definitely they lost control of the booster. But that was very promising, and that was the first time that we have seen this kind of footages, which
Mm.
was mind bending. I mean, when the plasma started forming around the flaps, okay, it kept on rolling all over the place. But I mean, just look at this. Oh, wow, that was so cool.
It was a good advertisement for the Starlink
Well, a
network.
very good one. Yes.
That it could withstand actually the plasma phase quite a long time.
Yes, and probably
Even
this was the first time that we got a glimpse that probably we're gonna have a communication with the hardware all the way down,
right.
similar to a shuttle, but because we didn't have Starlink back in those days, we couldn't test this kind of technology. I mean, it's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Um,
for visual experience it was quite a view.
Indeed. And then we jump forward to flight 4, which Help me out. That
on June 6th.
was on June 6th. Yep. So another milestone. Um, so they gave up opening the payload door.
Hmm.
They didn't do the flight, the propellant transfer,
Right.
and they gave up the reignition of the booster. I mean,
Actually,
look
all
at
of the
those.
three previous
Yes.
test points were removed.
Yeah, not because they were successful, but because they didn't think it's time. Actually,
Hmm.
the fuel transfer was successful. The payload door was,
Mm.
and then the reignition we know from later flights that it was coming later. I really like the shots at the launch. It was quite hazy during the day. I mean, yeah, and these kind of underneath shots are amazing. Look at the shock waves. I really do like it. Let me just slow it down a bit. Um, Look at those shock waves in the surrounding
Beautiful.
area. This was just sorry. This was just magnificent, really. Um,
That's the one thing I will miss in case
yeah,
of
look
the
at that.
Pad B.
Yes. No, I mean, no, no,
We
no,
won't see
no.
any shockwaves,
No, no, no.
or
At this
almost.
height, yeah, at this height we will have it, but at
Yeah,
the
in the air,
launch,
of course, yeah. But at the
yes,
on the ground, we won't see any shockwaves anymore because of the
no,
flame trench.
yeah.
But that should be our biggest problem.
Well, exactly.
And
We
now
can
you
live.
can
We
see
can live with
one
that.
raptor is missing, but yeah, that maybe that was the one negative point,
Yep,
or in the entire ascending phase.
yep.
But the booster
And
has
then
done its job.
beautiful, beautiful again, beautiful footages of the shutting down sequence, and then beautiful onboard. I think this was the first time that we really had some ground shots of the events as well, because in the flight 3 they were more focusing on onboard footages, but
Hmm.
in here they were focusing a lot, I think, if I remember well, from the ground footages, if I remember well. For the first time, we've seen the dropping of the hot staging ring, which was again so bloody cool.
Yeah, it was one of the improvement points, or
Hmm.
improvement points compared to Flight 3, because yeah, this hot staging ring has a weight of 10 tons itself, so it's quite it's quite heavy.
Yeah,
And yeah, the
and look,
booster,
beautiful.
and because of the booster was too heavy itself, yeah, no man is man, so super heavy, it was too super heavy. So that's
It
why.
was
And the
super
raptors
heavy.
and the raptors hadn't the trust at that time. That's why they thought so that it's better to just
Yep,
jettison the hot staging ring. And so the
that was a
booster
good
will have.
decision. That was a
Yeah,
very
and
good.
it was a good decision because the booster had a much better balance. And
Well, according to guest, I mean, I always forget his name. Was it Gerstenmaier?
yes, Bill
Um,
Gerstenmaier, or
Bill Gerstenmaier.
Gerstenmaier maybe.
Uh-huh. Because he actually said that, let me just go back a bit. He actually stated that the booster landed with like centimeter
Half a
accuracy,
centimeter.
half a centimeter accuracy, which we doubted quite a lot. To be fair, I did not believe it. Booster 5
I did.
obviously did a different justice. Yeah. um, and that first time we saw a boy camera, which was again something awesome. And I think in the live stream they showed the booster sort of tipping over all the way till hitting the water, which was again some crazy good stuff. We really liked it. Um,
Yeah, and the
ec-
ship had, yeah, sorry.
no, 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 go for it.
So
Beautiful
the
shots.
ship had itself an easier job, or easier task, because as we mentioned, some of the previous test points were removed. So
Hmm.
it was actually a normal, or kind of regular coast phase for it, and they were just curious about the um, the heat shield. Yeah, I found the word. So because
Um, this was a crucial moment.
yes. So we thought, I guess, okay, the forward flap is gone,
Yeah,
and it was over, and not. It wasn't
I
over.
I did not expect it to eventually land. This was a nay for me. This was, I
Yeah,
mean,
but
like, is
somehow it
dismantling,
survived. It was melting down and or melting up, better to say, or melting through all the
burning through.
material.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
It's
it was still moving.
kind of reminding me to Monty Python's Holy Grail when the knight has no arm and no leg, and he's still like really tough, and
I'm
he
fine.
wanna bites the other guy into two pieces.
Yes.
So yeah, amazing stuff. Yeah, this was a huge milestone. Ship, hooray!
Yeah, and it was a great success for the engineers that actually the ship survived the entire plasma phase and the descending as well, and
Yeah,
they could just move the ship till until the splashdown. So it was
yeah,
a quite success.
yep. And this is how they actually ended the live stream, I think, or no, this summary, that the next flights they kind of planning this, and we were like, yeah, sure, okay. Well, you were not, I was. I definitely was, because I highly doubted that they will be able to do that. How wrong I was, happily.
Yeah, just go back at that days or that shows when we were almost debating about the plans of the SpaceX in
Oh
case of
yes,
Flight 5.
oh
Yeah, but
yes.
they were exciting times, so I miss them because it was so unexpected what we could see on Flight 5. But yeah, the day had come or has come, and we were just totally out of this world, I guess.
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
So
So yeah, so we had a kind of like a boring start, because, to be fair, we are at the
let's say a
stage.
regular start.
Yeah, regular. Yeah. Because we are at the stage now that things don't really seem to go wrong at the start, at the launch of these starships. Again, crazy beautiful shots. Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, that was the last morning launch, yeah, so
Hmm.
far, because all of the except the flight 6 were all the flights actually conducted in the morning in central time, so around 7 a.m. So that was all the time almost quite hazy, but this flight 5 was so clean, and I mean the weather,
Hmm.
that they could have nice photos, or they could have done nice photos, and yeah, we just I guess we don't have to comment everything because because you can see what's happening. Yeah, this hostaging was quite routinely, and but after what came, we
Yeah.
weren't expect.
That tiny moment over there, that's something. Let's just highlight that. That closing three inner raptor, the sea level raptors, as they sort of, because when they are doing the separation, first they light the three bigger vacuum optimized engines, not to damage the top of the booster. And then as the ship distancing itself from the booster, the outer looking sea level engines, which starts in a secondary wave, they pointing outwards, and then they sort of closing in, and this is what we could see here. I mean, this is just incredible. I love these tiny moments that somehow SpaceX always manages to have in every single flight something new, something never before unseen. I love it. To be honest, I don't know how they do it, but they always manage to pull off something new. I just love it.
The
It's incredible.
marketing team's doing their job.
Well, they are doing well. I hope they get their bonus this year, like huge, because they absolutely deserve it, no doubt. Again, beautiful shot of the hot staging ring. I mean, look at this. Flying with the I mean, this is so crazy.
I
Incredible.
miss my mama. I don't want to separate from her.
I don't want to go back. And then obviously this is like a smoking cigar
Yes.
in action. Yeah. I mean, this was the first time that we had this kind of clear shot because obviously the booster was coming back towards the landing, so the launch site. This was out, it's just unreal. Yeah. And
And
then
what came
look at
after it? It was the mind blowing itself. So
I think the world went bonkers. Everybody went bonkers. I don't think I ever gonna forget this. This is that kind of milestone that only happens a few times with the development of a prototype.
yes,
This
and
kind of moments, yeah,
there is only one time the first time, or how
yeah.
to say
There's
it.
only one first.
Only
Yeah.
one first, yeah. And just think about it, that it is a 70-meter tall and about 300 tons uh,
Yes.
heavy heavy body, or just a metal body.
Yep.
And it's coming back, and they don't land it on landing legs. It should have been also a quite super thing or super happening, but no, they thought that okay, it's better to miss the legs to save some weight, and why not to catch them with two robots, or enormous and huge robotic arms called Mechazilla. And yeah, it was a reality already. So it wasn't any science fiction anymore, but a science fact.
Yeah, look at that. This was the point. To be fair, from this angle, in the live show, that particular here, I think this was the moment because we didn't see it from another angle. This was
Yeah,
the point when I was always certain to see
I
how
thought
it's
it
gonna
will
just, yeah,
hit the tower.
just hitting it and then somehow bouncing off and then
Everything
whatever.
is collapsing, and okay, the game over.
Not
But
collapsing, but definitely the booster not landing on the chopsticks, landing instead somewhere around, somewhere in that area. But that did not happen. The water deluge system was on, obviously, to protect the water deluge system, and then the
you mean
miracle.
the OLM,
OLM, yeah, sorry, what did I say?
water deluge system, to
Yeah, the
protect the
water.
water deluge system?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's protecting itself as well, but so
Actually, yeah,
yeah,
they
yeah.
had to protect the water deluge system itself.
Yes, I wasn't that far off. Yeah, so that was, I think that was a shocker. Having said that, I have to stick with my gun that I said it before and I will say it again that I think the Flight 5 was not about the booster landing. The booster landing was a massive milestone, very, very, very important. But the fact, what we see here, and the fact that this is a buoy cam,
Hmm.
so they dropped some buoys floating in the ocean, basically in the Indian Ocean, and then the fact that actually it could land with this precision, that's kind of the big thing. Because bringing back the booster, landing on a chopstick, that's not walk in the park. But bringing back a second stage, going through the atmosphere,
Almost from orbit.
yes, and then landing it with this precision, well, now this is what we need for future flights. Because if this doesn't work out, it doesn't matter how well the booster is landing, right? It
Yeah,
just
so
doesn't.
it
It
maybe
just
it was
doesn't
more
matter.
important to have the control of the ship, but
Hmm.
they managed it. And it was a nice step forward to do with even less heat tiles on flight 6.
Hmm.
We can move on to flight 6. What do you think?
Yeah, we can. The fact is that for some reason, SpaceX just stopped doing these kind of summaries on YouTube. So I will pull in for you the official SpaceX stream from X. Yeah, because they don't do anything on YouTube anymore, which is quite a shame.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and then we had Flight 6 not too long ago.
Yeah, it was when was it?
November,
On
November
19th of November, so
19. Yeah.
almost 1 month ago. Jesus, it it seems to be even older experience.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was on the 19th of November, and yeah, the new there were some new things or new uh, let's say changes. For example, the launch time, as I mentioned, all the flights until the flight 6, so the flight from the flight 5 until the flight 5, they were launching the Starship in the mornings, but now on the flight 6 they will launch it in the afternoon, in central time zone. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a quite big difference, because with this change, they could have the ship back in daytime, as or daylight, sorry, still on the Indian Ocean landing zone or
Yeah,
landing
that
area.
that was kind of a compromise to have a daytime at the Indian Ocean landing area.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that meant also that the coast phase was mainly in the night. I mean,
During
on
yeah
the Earth was night at
in
that time, but
the
actually
in Earth shadow. Yeah.
inner shadow, yeah.
Yep.
But actually, for the flight 6, there was only one more big task for the ship 32, which was the Raptor ignition, or ignition, better to
Let's
say.
let's not rush that
Okay,
much because
let's let's
we
say
have
by the booster.
yeah
Okay.
yeah yeah because we had a failed booster landing at this time around.
Let's better to say aborted, so not failed.
Yeah, I mean every okay. Let's what I mean is that is how crazy how the public um, sort of sees this kind of events because after one successful booster landing, everybody was expecting that it's gonna be easy peasy. They just gonna land it like that, and when it did not happen, it kind of everybody was
Disappointing.
a yeah, well, not a bit. We were hoping, but I think everybody who's following this kind of things, this kind of events closely knows that this is not hard, not easy task. And by now, when we were watching these footages, we will know exactly that it's not coming back to the landing site. Instead, it's gonna land on water.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because there were some not connections, but
communication problem.
communications problem with the chopsticks sensor,
Hmm.
as far as I know, or we know.
Yeah,
But
it was a
actually,
sensible decision, to be fair.
yeah, it was a good decision, and we can see, and also SpaceX can see so much booster landings in the future,
Yeah,
and
we're gonna get
currently
bored
it's
of it.
currently it's not the main goal to catch every and each booster. The main point to save the landing zone, or in this case the launch site.
Yep.
So better to land or splash down the booster in the Gulf of Mexico, rather to destroy everything around the launch site.
Yep.
So
There's a little convers. Well, there was just one point that raised in the chat. Stephen Porter says that still think the legs are a better system. I would say it has pluses and minuses. If you see that what SpaceX is planning to do on the long run, which is fast, quick turnaround and rapid reusability, with the legs that would be so much more difficult because either you have legs that can retract itself, but then you need to build in an extra mechanisms to each and every single leg, and that's weight, and that means that weight is taking shaving off from the useful payload that the Starship system can launch to space. Or you get the boosters, which has no legs, and the boosters' only job is to being launched. So it's launching the second stage, coming back, fill it up, so on and so forth. It doesn't mean that all of the stages going to have this catching system. So far, the ships are going to be caught by the chopsticks too, But I mean, at some point, they need to come up with the leg um, development or design as well, because they need to
Mhm.
land it on the moon and they need to land it on Mars, because there is no catching tower on Mars, or none of these
Yet.
places yet. Well, yet, but up until then, there is no other way around. Is That's the
Of
only way.
course.
Yeah. And even though if there will be towers on Mars, look, if there is something is if something goes wrong, you can actually try at least to land it somewhere on the surface. But if you miss it on Mars, then there, for sure you're dead, because you cannot land.
Yeah.
So they must have the leg system at some point. But on Earth, this is a more sensible way. And to be fair, if the Chinese are already copying it, then probably it's not that a bad idea.
Yeah, but I think we can share this or yeah, we can agree in this point that in 2025 we will see a quite of new development
Mm-hmm.
developments of the ships. For example, these landing legs as well, because they have to move on with the HLS version of Starship,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
they will show or introduce the first prototype of the entire HLS version. We, of course, we are not sure, but I think so that around at the end of 2025, so maybe in 1 year, we can see the first prototype, or at least a part of it, with the landing legs, because they have to move on with the development phase with this version as well.
Mm-hmm.
However, the maybe the Artemis 3 has been delayed again, and currently it's only already 2027, in the middle of 2027. So SpaceX has more time as well for the development. But anyway, they want to go on and do their developments. So yeah, I guess it will be a quite a review again with a
We'll
ship
see.
with landing legs,
We will
and
see.
yeah, the banana returning to the Flight 6.
I have a feeling that in 2025, Chiquita need to prepare itself, the company, because they will launch so much bananas.
Hundreds of tons of bananas, that will be the payload.
Absolutely. I mean, I really dig the sense of humor of the SpaceX team. They made such a mega hype of the banana. They were even selling a plushie, and yeah, that was fun. And then all over. Well, and let's not forget the decal at the ship with the.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Oh
I
yes,
think I think Flight 6 will be remembered as the banana flight.
banana sheep.
Because things went bananas. Right, okay, that was a cheap joke. And obviously we were all eagerly waiting. I mean, by when was the reflight? No, it was before this. Yeah. Anyway,
What do
that
you
was
mean?
the relight of the engine.
Relight before the plasma phase.
Yeah. But anyway, let's just cover that it happened.
Yeah, and
It,
actually we could see in live, and that was a good point, and it was a quite uh, nostalgic, or how to say it. So we could see some old experience coming back from times of the suborbital flights of the ships themselves.
oh, you mean
I mean the
returning phase?
camera in the engine
Yeah,
section.
definitely. I mean, if hands up, people in chat, how many of you were following the SN flights, SN8, SN9, SN10, SN11? Well, that's easy to forget. SN15. Yeah, because those were really like those tests when we saw some incredible flights.
Oh
Sort of
yes.
the ships were falling back, and I mean, this is we're still pretty high. Let me just fast forward a bit. We're still re-entering. Yeah, we still
Can we
yeah,
show
these.
the Raptor light or
No. That's what I said, that I don't want to keep on searching.
okay?
It's about a 2 minute action, so believe us.
Yeah, it was a quite short, but rather very important test, and
Yeah.
it was successful, and it's a very important step forward to reach the orbit in the not in the next flight, because as we currently know, it will be still a almost suborbital trajectory, or even if it will be orbital trajectory, the ship won't conduct an entire orbit,
Hmm.
because the ship 33 will splash down in the on the Indian Ocean, as the previous family members, let's say. So what's for sure, it won't be an entire and one round, let's say, around the Earth, but maybe the orbital parameters will be already, I mean the speed and maybe the altitude as well. And since they are they could rely on the Raptor ignition, maybe they will try to reach that speed and that parameters for orbital flights. um, but anyway, what was more
I think
important, the
the
ship 32 had about 2,000 less heat tiles as the previous members, and
Mhm.
it was quite interesting to see whether it will survive or not, or how the ship can withstand the plasma phase. But yeah, that there were some dents, as you can see on the body of the ship. But anyway, it survived, and it showed for the engineers that yes, even with 2,000 less heat ties, the ship can survive. And yeah, actually, the attitude control was
But
quite.
it doesn't mean that it's okay.
Of course, yeah,
It's
but that
not
was the first
okay,
time to
but yeah,
experience this kind
yeah,
of things, or how to say. So yeah, it was a nice experience for the engineers.
yeah.
So I wouldn't say that all of the ships in the future will have this kind of heat tile um,
Configuration. Um,
configuration. Yeah, because the ship 33 has a different as well. But with these less heat tiles, they can save weight as well,
yeah,
which is important in terms
they
of the
learned.
payload capacity.
They definitely learned a lot from this, and the
Yes.
dancing is not cool. They will address this issue, and yeah, they will find out exactly where they really need to put those heat tiles. But it was good. And regarding to the relight of the engine, we were all expecting that hopefully Flight 7 is going to go to orbit.
Hmm.
By now we know that it's not happening. It's because they need to validate, I think, the Block 2 version, because it never flown before. They need to see before they go to orbit that it doesn't have some catastrophic design flaw. um, and again, that's a sensible thing to do. Obviously it's painful because we were all hoping that Flight 7 gonna reach orbit, but according to the future plans, I mean, they have permission to launch um, 25 launches in 2025, and then 25 landings for ships and boosters, so both can obviously land. And it's gonna be hard for them to accumulate 25 launches,
Yeah, and
but
sorry, just to mention, Antje, we are here. Just we are very curious, and yeah, just estimate, nice viewers, that what do you think? How many Starship flights can we see in 2025?
that's a good
There
question.
won't be any wrong answers. We are just curious. How do you think about it? They will have a uh, monthly launch cadence, or they will have even more.
Well, probably it's easier to ask a number. Yeah.
Yeah,
How
let's write a
many?
number.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
How many
yeah,
Starship
yeah.
flights do you think in
Yeah. Just
2025?
just throw us a number. What you think is gonna be? I personally think I would put my money on, I don't know, 11. I don't know why I just chose 11. 11. No,
I
you
was
chose.
about to
No,
say
you
the
chose
same.
11. No, we had a program last year, last week, and you said 11, wasn't
Yeah, I
it?
said 11, and
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I'm still thinking so that
Yeah.
it will be 11. So almost in
11,
every month.
13. Yeah, hopefully that's a feasible. Yeah, twice every month. But obviously, at the beginning, I don't think they can pull it off. we know that if Flight 7 is okay, they are aiming for February for the next launch for Flight 8 or around February.
Yes, so if they can manage the flight 7 around in the middle of January, they can go for flight 8 around at the first or second week of February. So
which
quite in
is
a short period of time.
which is already very cool.
Yeah.
Um, and to be fair, we see the evidence because ship 34 is almost ready,
Hmm.
and the boosters are almost ready. Um, that
There are
will
some in
hold
the garage, or
exactly. So
let's
so
say, let's
and
say
I
in the bay.
and I guess they're gonna ramp up the production as we proceed because we can see Star Factory grew so much.
Hmm.
Actually, I have some photos of that. We prepared some photos. Let me just bring you into the live program because yes, because yeah, it's the transformation that Starbase itself just went through
Hmm.
is absolutely mind bending. So if I show you, let's start with the build side. So this is January. This is Star Factory. We can see that the old bits are there, new structures are coming together, and then May, we can see that the kind of the main structural sort of elements are there.
Hmm.
And then I got some photos for you from August. Roofing is done, the sides are done, and then I got some photo from last month, from November, when the new bits, the office building is already connected, and obviously now we are even further than that. One of my most favorite photos are this. I mean, look at this. This looks
Yeah, I will
seriously.
miss this silhouette, or how to say, but yeah, they will demolish the high bay. So we
Well,
have,
that's the future, yes.
yeah, but the near future, let's say.
Near future, yes,
I wouldn't be
because they're gonna
surprised
have a
if
bigger,
they would start to demolish the high bay already in January, because
maybe.
there are some signs already for
Yep,
this.
yep. And then probably just to, well, actually, I found this photo. Mission ready,
The official
and then yeah,
payload service.
and then with the launch side. So this is January this year. So there's no sign of Pad B, right? We
No, no
still
sign
have
of
the
anything, just the pad A.
yeah. Actually,
There are
Pad
still
A
the two
and
suborbital test stands, or yeah, yeah.
exactly, exactly. And they just finished this car park, shiny new car park. The
With the
gateway to
wall.
Mars sign,
We were so
beautiful.
happy to, oh, look at that.
And
They
then
just demolish in
and then May,
a couple of weeks.
yep, and then May arrived and look the
Bye
gateway,
bye.
yeah, it's gone. The parking lot is gone. And then by August, boom,
Boom,
massive
what nice
change.
tower there.
It's crazy. And then last month, I mean, it's. I know if somebody is following this in every like on a monthly or a weekly basis, then it's so hard to spot the changes.
Yes.
But when you just look back a bit, it's just this is just a span of 1 year. This is not a lot at all. So yeah, it's crazy. I think
And in the meantime, they had four Starship launches, just, and of course with the ground tests. So just think about it a bit.
2025 is going to be a smashing year unless something major and catastrophic event happens. This is gonna be a year to look forward. So I think I think many of you are just as excited as we are. Definitely stay tuned with us, just like with the main Y channel, because obviously Felix is bringing you always the latest and newest information regarding to Starbase and Florida, because Florida is coming back alive
Hmm.
again and then a lot of new cool things happening. So please check back the previous episodes because every Tuesdays and Fridays Felix is rolling out these beautiful episodes for you, jam packed with information. So yeah, definitely stay tuned because this is gonna be an exciting times. subscribe to the What About It channel or the What About It Plus channel because they do a lot for you to
Hmm.
bring the latest and best.
we
So
we have
definitely, and
and we
just
have some answers before we just go
one
on.
second, just let me finish.
Okay.
And then obviously, if you would like to support the channel, please become a Patreon member because most of these photographs we are showing for you, it's all accessible for you if you become a member. So yeah, definitely stay tuned and follow. What about it? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I just thought that you will say goodbye and that's all.
Yeah.
Just because we have some answers about the Starship launches. So there are
Mhm.
some conservative
Yeah.
thoughts.
Uh,
For example, from Capt Reed, he said or he wrote that 5 Starships flights in 2025. Maybe
mhm.
that's a bit conservative, but let's say some or yeah, for example, Kazor writes 18. Maybe it's too much, but let's see.
Who
And
knows?
Matthias sees between 12 and 15.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, and of course we are looking for your comments as well as always
Mhm.
after the show, because yeah, this next year will be very very exciting. So of course we couldn't how to say estimate anything or almost anything, because yeah, and everything is so much changing so quickly, so that's why it's hard to tell what's coming. But as Sabi said, I guess what's for sure, it will be a very exciting year,
Mhm.
even for us and for the Starship development as well.
Definitely. So stay tuned. Subscribe to this channel as well because it's a growing, slowly growing community, and we are coming back next year every Mondays with these Monday morning talks when we take over for about an hour on this channel. We were the Space Junkies, the Space Junkie guys from Hungary. Thanks very much for staying with us. Show your support because we would like to see that there is a need for this kind of conversational episodes. Up until then, have a lovely and Merry Christmas. A Happy New Year, and we see you hopefully at the first Monday in 2025. Take care of yourself and have a lovely week, and we see you soon. Take care, guys.
Yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, all of you, and see you on 6th of January, as far as I know.
Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.